From Lusaka, this is my house, the most important TV show in Zambia. I'm Jackson Dimas Piri. On Monday, 20th of January 2023, I saw a post by Sun FM page that said motorists in Ndola vow not to pay for motor vehicle fitness until roads are worked on. Okay? This has been an issue that's been going on for some time across the country, actually. So for people to get to that point, it pretty much sure it means like it's been too much. Now, that approach, I asked myself a question. Will it work? The answer is highly unlikely it will not be able to work. You might want to ask, why? The thing is, Zambians cannot all agree to park their vehicles, for instance, just so the government can feel the pressure and prioritize the problem. We like to do things that will actually just benefit ourselves on personal level and not for the good of the society. So in this country, like, people will only stand with you on Facebook. That we have seen. We've seen Chela, Tukuta, we've seen like a lot of situations. Was their home in their blankets or just maybe in their offices, drinking tea. I always say this to my friends, like, if it was up to this generation to fight for independence way back in 1964, I have no idea what could have happened. Also, something that needs to be addressed is that government needs to be very accountable. Government needs to be accountable in this country, okay? They should be feeling very ashamed on some of the things that they do just because, it's a whole entire complicated institution. A certain leader in the PF likes saying, insoni ubuntu. Because, how can you be collecting money for a service and yet you won't be able to provide the service? You have been collecting road tax and toll fees for many years now. And yet most roads in the country, and for that matter, the roads that are actually, the roads that drive the economy are still very bad, okay? I know someone said that the road from Nakonde is actually being constructed now, which is, well and good. But the Ndola Lusaka road is terrible. For lack of better terms, that road is like a death trap. And yet there are still toll gates in almost every town when you're going, or you're coming from that side. The government systems are always down, at the beginning of the quarters. Whenever everyone is trying to access, their portal or they go to their offices so that they can buy road tax, always down because maybe they are using, and I always say they're using chip servers that are not able to accommodate a lot of people trying to access the portal at the same time. Things have to change. Okay, but you still allow Zambia police to mount traffic checkpoints and charge people who don't have road tax. So now the thing is, I'm not able to access the road tax, right? But I'm still being charged. Even when Ratsa has said, let's give these motorists 2 weeks of breathing space, you still find police on the road. Home Affairs Minister Honorable Jack Mwepu has once complained about his corrupt traffic police officers before.
We are only going to have security checkpoints. And the security checkpoints are established and the police themselves know. There will be no longer roadblocks where our officers, when they have no money, they want to establish roadblocks to make money. That is no more.
Unfortunately for him and us all, most Zambian police officers are not law enforcers. I will stick with the word most, not all. So please do not misunderstand. There are some very good police officers out there. They are not out there to serve the government or actually even enhance compliance. It's because they see an opportunity to make some money for themselves. Okay?
Those people.
Now, according to the 2019 Zambia Bribe Payers Index, ZBPI, the Zambia Police Traffic Section was still ranked among the top with higher likelihood of taking bribes at about 40.7%. So the interest in most of them is not to maintain law and order. You see that on the roads, or even saving the public, but to get something out of your pocket, okay? So they paint the picture of the men and women in uniform that are out there to honestly just do their job. They make it look bad, like police. They are like very good policemen and women out there who are just out there to save the nation. But because of the few bad people, you make it look bad. So the police command, they've got so much to do to clean up the image of the Zambia police. On Friday the 13th, 2023, local government and rural development minister, Honorable Gary Nkombo, gave a warning or an ultimatum to street vendors to leave the street and get to designated trading places by Monday, January 16th, 2023. So I like the reasons he gave to enhance measures to prevent a cholera outbreak among other waterborne diseases.
Everybody must go back into their designated trading places. In line with this, ladies and gentlemen, the ministry is thereby directing Lusaka City Council and all the local authorities countrywide to clear out all vendors, all in undesignated trading areas. Local authorities will therefore be required to enhance the enforcement and ensure that all vendors go into their designated trading places in order to avert an uncontrollable outbreak of cholera and diarrheal diseases.
So like I said, I like the reasons that he gave. It would be nice to note that just next door, okay, in Malawi, infections are still high in Ilongwe and Branta, to be specific. Cholera outbreak began in March last year and has actually so far killed more than 750 people. So measures to avoid such situations are welcome on any given day. So now the following day, after the minister gave those statements, President Hakainde Hichilema directed the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development not to remove the street vendors from the undesignated trading places until further consultations are held. So now, that action, the stopping that the president did, the action alone made Honorable Gary Nkombo look like, he was quick to make a decision on the removal of the street vendors from the Lusaka Central Business District before finding alternative trading places for them. Now, from where I stand, it makes Honorable Gary Nkombo look very bad, okay, in the eyes of the vendors. Also, in the eyes, like, for people who are just independent like me and the rest of us, it made it look like it does things without consulting or planning. So the next time, maybe the president should tell Honorable Gary Nkombo, like, the next time you want to do something very important, you must, you must run it by me. You must run it by me to avoid confusion. Otherwise, the disconnect between the minister and the president it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. Okay? I know that street vending is an important source of livelihood for many Zambians, particularly those who are unemployment. The unemployment levels in this country are very high. Even those who are probably employed, but they're not making enough, right? So these vendors rely on the income that they earn from their small businesses to support themselves and their families, right? That I know. And then I also know that street vending is illegal, right? We should agree at least. So, if the president wants to support an illegality, okay, in the name of wanting to win maybe sympathy from the people, it's a very bad precedence, okay, that he is setting. Every illegality that his predecessors supported seemed to benefit some people, and it affected a lot more people. Our word to you, Mr. President, is that those who forget history, we say this all the time, they're bound to repeat it. And the last thing you want to do is what happened in 2021. Zambians uniting and standing against you. That's the last thing you want. The people on the streets, at least we can agree this, they are not well documented. Okay? We don't know who's a stand number what and how much they pay. So that also means that paying levies to Lusaka City Council will be very tricky. So now, all that money that we are losing could be used for service delivery. That we should also agree. But if the money is not there for service delivery, but then we're letting people be in the street, then what are we doing? From the Zesco lies, from the Zesco load shedding lies to supporting lawlessness, I wonder what State House will do next. I know when it comes to the president, I know he means well for the Zambian people, right? Because of where we're coming from and the space we're in right now. But we cannot be having different complaints every day. How we move from here is really up to you. I also saw a civil rights activist, Brenda Shangala, also condemning the manner in which President Hakainde Hichilema halted the removal of street vendors from the undesignated trading places by local government minister, Honorable Gary Nkombo. His words were that there is no way the president can actually allow lawlessness, which becomes detrimental and dangerous to the general populace in the name of street vending.
But I must also hasten to say that the behavior of our president, the populist behavior of our president to overrule the work of a minister who is connected to reality, a minister who is on the ground, to overrule him in order to win the sympathy of the lawbreakers is detrimental to this country. Very soon, there will be cholera outbreak, and he has no capacity to manage such an outbreak as a government. And most importantly, he has appointed a minister to superintend over our local government system in this country. He must not micromanage them and mislead the general vending populace. That's the only way he can win sympathy, by standing side by side with the lawbreakers.
So the emphasis is that there are stands and that are also empty at in Soweto Market as well as the City Market, but people have actually opted for the main streets in town. Okay, I actually saw a trader say this on camera.
Yes, that's why we are saying to the president, he should remove the street vendors to come here. There's a lot of space in this market. Yes, we heard about last week. The minister said that on Monday there will be no street vending, but we are surprised that there's no anything that is going on right now.
While the government's move to combat cholera and other diseases is commendable, it is important to engage everybody, all the stakeholders involved, and find alternative trading places for the street vendors before making any decisions. So in this case, it is crucial for the government to involve the community, private sector, and other stakeholders in this process to find a solution that benefits all parties involved without also putting us at risk, right? Last week, we were all shocked and scared when we got the news that the ex-Zambian and Brighton midfielder, I like to call him the midfield bully, Enoch Mwepu, was actually in hospital in Zambia after falling unwell. Reports said he had suffered a suspected heart attack on Sunday while driving, and he was actually seen after parking his vehicle. The 25-year-old was forced to retire from football in October because of a hereditary heart condition. Announcing his retirement last year, Brighton said Enoch Mwepu would actually be at an extremely high risk of suffering a potentially fatal cardiac event if he continued playing. So he had actually fallen ill on a trip with the Zambian national team to Mali in September, unable to train and arriving in West Africa, and spent 4 days in hospital. Now, Mwepu had actually tested on his return to Brighton, and then they said the results meant the only option was for him to retire. Now, on past Sunday, the doctors in Zambia said he was actually undergoing precautionary checks, and he was in high spirits.
Yes, he's our patient, and he's in high spirits, and thanks to the visit by the Honorable Minister and his team. And we are still doing our assessments, and we'll be keeping you posted in due course with any new developments. But today, he says he feels much better, and he's very glad that the whole country sends his prayers to him.
So now, yesterday, we woke up to some good news that Enoch Mwepu has actually been discharged from Lusaka Heart Hospital, where he was admitted for the treatment after falling ill on September 15th, January 2023. The Ministry of Health PS Professor Lakson Kasonka confirmed this by saying, I can confirm that Enoch Mwepu was discharged from the Lusaka Heart Hospital this morning. He will continue his recuperation from home. Some good news, and I hope that Mwepu can actually go back and live in England, where everything is advanced, and he'll be able to live life in a normal way going forward. We wish him a quick recovery. Until next time, this has been my house. It's bye for now.